Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tobacco Road and Abroad. My name's Gareth Parsons, joined by Ada Moore, and we've got a fun one for you this week. We got some Super Bowl action, some college basketball, and we'll finish it off with a UFC fight analysis or card analysis, sorry. But without further ado, let's get in. Super Bowl, Patriots Seahawks, nearly a decade later. Well, a little over a decade later.
hmm
Initial thoughts here, Aiden.
Initial thoughts. I mean, we gave some thoughts last week, but here's my thoughts going into this weekend. Um, Listen, this is going to be a match between really proficient and excellent defense going up against one of the more well-oiled machines that is the Seahawks offense. I'm really excited for this matchup. I'm excited to see if we can get a regular season caliber performance out of Drake May. He's kind of been lackluster during these playoffs, and a lot of people have been doubting him and his abilities. A lot of people are saying there's still needs to be more development. I agree there needs to be more development, but I think a lot of people are kind of hating on Drake May a little bit too much going into this weekend. There's a lot you can expect going into this matchup, but one thing you also must expect is that anything can happen, and I'm excited to see if what type of Drake May is going to be coming out in this game, and I'm also excited for just seeing just the Seahawks offense in general. A lot of weapons that can be used. It's really going to test this Patriots defense, but it should be a really, really good matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you. The one thing that is intriguing me more is this Seahawks defense. It is a defense that we like. The defense that a lot of people think is one of the greatest defenses of all time, like possibly even greater than the Legion of Boom. They are set up in such a unique way. Like I watched a whole video about how their defense is set up and like the verbiage they use and the strategy they use is just completely is just completely different than anything to anyone's done before.
hmm
Um, their whole philosophy is they don't match personnel unless it's like a massive discrepancy. So what that means is like they live in nickel a lot. But the thing is with their personnel, they can get the run blocking they like in nickel. Like so
Yes.
a lot of times you go to nickel when they bring out more receivers or dime, but they if in situations where they should go to dime, they're usually in nickel. In situations they're in a base, they stay in nickel. Like they don't bring in a whole lot of heavy personnel, but I think that's because of who they have on defense and how well coached they are. Um, Another big thing for me is so Sam Darnold. This is the third time in history a quarterback that has led the league in turnovers has made the Super Bowl. I think this is an improved Sam Darnold. He's on his way to, I think a career revival, not of the level of Matthew Stafford, but I think he could be on a nice career path. I mean, he is only 28, believe it or not. He is
hmm
only 28. And I think one of the major battles, not just the Seahawks defense and the Patriots offense, I think the biggest battle is are they going to be able to force Sam Darnold to make mistakes? Because even so, Sam Darnold, a lot of his turnovers have come when teams have gotten pressure home. That's
hmm
where the majority of his interceptions have come from, particularly backed up in his own end where space is limited. So if I'm the Patriots here, I am, and this is not an original take. I've been seeing a few people talk about this on social media. Don't know exactly who to credit for it, who came up with it first, but I like the idea. A lot of people are saying live and die by the blitz. I don't know if I agree with that for New England. I think heavy dose of blitz, but I think we need to. I wouldn't live and die by it
hmm
because with the experience of the Seahawks staff, they're just going to scheme. If they figure out that's your game plan, they're just going to scheme around it. Like that. That's
hmm
that's just what it is. Like the amount of adjustments that the Seahawks staff is able to make. Just the second half adjustments, even the in between quarter adjustments, even live adjustments they make with like those tablet things and stuff they see and everyone they've got in their staff. It's gonna have to be something where you mix stuff up. Like I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's just as simple as blitz Sam Darnold all day because it's not. Like the Seahawks offense is more than just Sam Darnold. So
Yeah.
that's my take. I think I've got the Seahawks winning this one. My two scenarios here are the Seahawks either win in a big way or the Patriots winning a close one. I don't see anything other than those two. But like I said, if the Patriots want to win, they're going to have to get pressure to Sam Darnold and not just blitzes. I've talked about on here. Pressure is not just blitzes. Everyone's saying blitz all day. I think their best bet here is a simulated pressure, which is they still bring 3 or 4, but 2 or 3 come from the normal spot, and then you bring like a corner and drop a D end into coverage or something like that. You still get the effect of a blitz without, sending 5 or 6. I think they're going to have to do like a healthy, kind of. And they have this defensive personnel staff to do it. Vrabel, I know he's not a defensive, guru or anything, but like he was on those Bill Belichick teams. He is going to know how a good defense operates. So for that, yeah, I think Seattle's going to win, not in a blowout, but I think it's going to be at least a sizable margin just with how good their defense is set up. So that's my take on that.
Yeah,
Anything else to
definitely.
add on the NFL?
I mean, I gotta say, I agree with you on this take. Uh, the Seahawks got this one. I just like the machine of this offense. I feel like it can kind of divvy it up a little bit better. Uh, just overall, I think this is just a more sound team. Depending on how the Patriots come out on defense, it's really going to be telling of like how this game's going to go. Because as much as I love Drake May and I hope there's an elite performance out of him this Super Bowl, I just don't know if the Patriots could win in a shootout scenario, which I think this could easily become if the Patriots defense uh, don't have enough answers in applying pressure to the Seahawks offense.
I agree with you. And one thing I forgot to bring up is this is the first injury riddled team they aren't playing in the playoffs. And that's not to hate.
Hmm.
That's just something I want to bring up. This is like the first fully healthy team. And how are they going to respond to that? They struggled early when the Broncos came out and hit them in the mouth. They ended
Hmm.
up winning that game, but their offense was pretty much very stagnant that entire game. Their defense basically won them that game. But the Broncos came out and hit them in the mouth. I mean, the Texans, that was just, I'll admit that was a good game by the Patriots there, but this is the first time they have not played a really battered team. And in both of those games, their offense took 2, sometimes even 3 quarters to find themselves. And in some of their playoff games, they haven't even found themselves. So yeah, with how the Seahawks get out and hit teams in the mouth immediately, I don't like that. I know I already said I don't like their chance, but that's just one thing I wanted to add that I forgot to mention. It's just Seattle's able to maintain, and they're a healthy team. So this is kind of a perfect storm. Shall we jump into college basketball?
Yeah, we can. We can. We have a big weekend ahead for college basketball, but looking back this past week, UNC on Monday night was able to take down Syracuse at home. UNC over the past couple years have had trouble with games right before the UNC Duke game, so it was good to see that this UNC squad's not looking ahead with especially how young some of the star players are. Um, I think this is a UNC team that's very locked in right now. I think they have finally kind of like moved past their mid-conference play woes that we saw earlier in January, and they're coming in hot with some really good shooting and just being able to move the ball around very proficiently. Wilson has been a standout player for UNC against Syracuse, scoring 22 points, going 16 for 14 on field goals. We're getting a lot of rebounds from uh, Henry Visar. He's just been a very proficient big man, and once again, this is what has been kind of like the main crux or like main downfall of this UNC defense is allowing 3-point shots. Syracuse was only 33% in 3-point percentage. You got to keep it under 40 to be in a ball game. If you're UNC, anything below that is going to be really good. Anything around like the 45-50 range, that's where UNC typically loses. So that's going to be something really important to look at going into our predictions later in the podcast. But I'm very happy with where this UNC team is right now. I think they're developing very well, and I, there have been talks before. I think it's just the overreaction of UNC fans, but like I think for the meantime we can kind of load off the fire Hubert Davis train. Like right now we're starting to cook a little bit. This team's looking really good, and I'm happy to see it.
Yeah. They've kind of UNC's kind of not. I don't want to say righted the ship. I don't think the ship was ever in dire straits. I just think there's a very loud contingent of UNC fans that are not a big fan of Hubert Davis. So, NC State, they've after a kind of rough start to conference play, they've kind of caught fire here. Two good wins, good wins this week. Excuse me, let me find it. Started off with a dismantling of Wake Forest on the road. Yeah, Steve Forbes is done. That's all I got to say about that game. You can't let a Tobacco Road rival come in there and almost drop 100 on you. Even though you're sitting dead last in the ACC, you got to put up a little bit more of a fight than that. And NC State was just kind of in control that entire game. But the big game, kind of the narrative shift, and this would have been a loss if this were state teams of the past, is this SMU game. What this state team has done really well is these close road games against quad 2, and then even into quad 1 opponents is these close games on the road where it's back and forth and all around and momentum and all that type of stuff. Chippy usually haven't gone state teams' way until this year. And I think for NC State, obviously it was a good showing, but for me, this is more a character win more than anything. Because despite how well SMU shot the ball in the second half, this was a crazy stat to me. Despite NC State leading, what do you think SMU's field goal percentage was in the second half?
25%.
65. NC State came back and won while SMU was shooting 65% from the field. That, in my mind, that's just, I mean, you saw the game, right? That 3-point defense by SMU was just not there last night.
Yeah.
Whether it be something schematically NC State's doing or just lazy defense. I think it was just when SMU had a great run to end the half. They caught State sleeping. State kind of turned off defensively, which is something they cannot do on the road in the future. But they're able to fight their way back. And I just think the main difference here is SMU panicked. Yeah. NC State at half was shooting 17% from beyond the arc. Yeah. They finished with 45% from beyond the arc by the end of the game. NC State hit 12 straight threes in the second half without a miss. And a lot of those were
sorry. I think I misheard. I think I misheard you earlier. I was responding to how SMU was shooting.
Oh yeah, no, SMU. When I told you, despite how good SMU was shooting, NC State came back. SMU was shooting 65% and lost in the second half.
Okay. I'm starting to.
That's a fucking kick in the nuts right there.
Yeah, that is.
But no, that's what I'm saying is NC State was shooting terribly in the first half. And just due to some momentum shift. And I saw something on TikTok. I want to go back and find this. Momentum is all about mentality. Momentum's not a real thing. Momentum is one team starts to panic and can't get out of it, and another team pounces on that.
Yes.
This SMU team, once NC State started hitting threes, and they weren't even contested threes. They had a few lapses on defense, which are going to happen. You're going to give up the odd wide open three. The problem is about the second or third one they let up, they started panicking. SMU started panicking. You could see it. They started rushing shots on the other end. Still maintaining that really good shooting percentage. I think they started the half like 75% shooting in the second half. It's just they fell to that 65. They started forcing things. They started forcing passes. They started turning the ball over. I think SMU didn't have a turnover till the second half. And then they started the second half with like 6 straight turnovers. And then from there, it was just NC State would whittle the lead down to about 1. SMU would balloon back out. It's going into the half, State was down 10.
Yeah.
Beginning of the second half, State cut it to 4. SMU pushed it back out to 8. State would push it back down to 4. Then it only went to 6. Then it was 4. And then the State got it to 2. Then it went back to 6. It was kind of an ebb and a flow. You could feel the momentum building, but SMU still kind of had their sanity about them. But then that's like when I said the 3 started falling. It was bad news bears. I mean, neither team had many second chance points, but when you don't miss, really, are there really any second chance points when you don't freaking miss? Like neither team was really missing. It was just mainly SMU's 10 second half turnovers. And it wasn't even that they were missing shots. It was they were making bad decisions with the ball when NC State started to get hot. And you can't do that. So quality quad 1-1 for NC State. I like where they sit going into the rest of ACC play. For the first 10 games of ACC play, they had 7 road games. It was either 6 or 7 road games. No joke intended there. By no means does the schedule get easier, and this was something Aiden and I talked about last year. I'm not calling the schedule easy. I'm calling the remaining schedule favorable. Miami, home. I know I don't like the look of that game, but Miami, home, Virginia Tech, home. Our 3 remaining road games, I don't like our chances, but Aiden has different takes when it's NC State on the road. When it's NC State on the road, his is, y'all fine. Mm-hmm. We have Louisville on the road. I think that's probably a loss. Virginia on the road, that's probably a loss. And then our other final road game is Stanford. Actually, wait, hold on. The away team is on the left. Sorry, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's our other away game. We finish off, so the remaining schedule for State is Virginia Tech, Louisville, Miami, Carolina, Virginia, Notre Dame, Duke, Stanford. I like where they're sitting. Obviously, we'll get into predictions later. I like the way they've righted the ship. One thing I will say about analysis is there's been a guy, Will Wade has run this. You're familiar with 24/7 Sports, Aiden?
Yes, I
am. They're like NC State's version of them is called Pack Pride. I forget what UNC's version is. I don't exactly remember what it's called. Duke has its own. Providence has its own too. I forget what. I know the guy who runs Providence. Sorry, Richard. I'm not to dox you here, but I forget the name. I read it every week when you post it. I just forget the name. I just look for your name in the inbox. I forget the name of your article, Richard. I'm sorry, but shout out Richard Korn. He's got some good books on Providence basketball. I might buy one. If you want to read into it, you don't have to, Aiden. But if you want a copy, I'll get you a discount.
Yeah. I love Richard. I love Richard.
Aiden's never met Richard, but I might. I'm bringing Aiden down. Aiden's coming up to Boston or where we are in a few short weeks, and we're gonna try and go down for a Providence game. And if I have time, I might try and introduce Aiden to Richard. So we'll see. We're not going to be partying with Richard Aiden. He's 80. Or no, he's late 70s. So, still cool. He's still cool. He's still cool.
We can still party with him.
Yeah, we can still party with Richard. Yeah, no, we can still party with Richard. Aiden's like, the fuck you mean? We can still party with Richard.
That's prime party years. What else you going to do? I'm going to be
write a very good book about Friar basketball. That's what you can do.
We're going to be turning it up at the when we're turning 80. We're going to be turning up in our 80s.
Oh, but where was I going with that? Oh, so Grant Hughes, he's a writer for 24/7. The big viral clip that actually it happened on my birthday, and I thought this was the 2 best birthday presents I got that day were the Mexico Diablos hat I got from Aiden, something I got from my girlfriend, which it's a very nice collared shirt I got from my girlfriend, And
Also,
then it was
that Boston picture, or
that
the Red
Boston
Sox.
picture,
Yeah,
the
that
Red
Red
Sox
Sox.
one. That I like that one.
That was
That's
clean. I ain't gonna
that was
lie.
clean. But the third gift that day that I really enjoyed, it was a press conference by Will Wade. Grant Hughes, the all offseason had been this NC State recruiting class. This team's going to miss the tournament. Will Wade. And what he starts his press conference with, I'd like to let Grant start. Where's Grant? Crickets. 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 Grant didn't talk again until NC State lost in the Maui Invitational. He said something. He said, wreaths are up. Christmas decorations are up at NC State, still without a Power 4 win. Here we are down the line. 6 straight road wins. Aiden, here's the moment I knew we were going to make the tournament. Grant Hughes is usually a swing and a miss. So I know anytime Grant Hughes opens his mouth on NC State, the opposite's going to happen. So I am just hoping motherfucker opens his mouth about the Duke game. I am just hoping. Dude meat rides for Duke. Like, he's not going to comment on the State Carolina game. I don't even know who he's a fan of, but he meat rides Duke. I am hoping he opens his mouth about that game. I am hoping he does. I'm hoping he opens his mouth about the tournament chances of this team. Because usually, like I said, the opposite happens. And you could see it in his comments. It's not like a whole hindsight is 2020. On his Twitter account, I'm not telling, these weren't even tweets from now. These are tweets from the same day. All State fans in the comments going, yeah, I know we're fine. I know we're fine. Whatever you say, the opposite happens. I know we're fine. It's like the opposite of The Simpsons. Like, The Simpsons expose everything. How you know something's not going to happen is if Grant says it's going to happen. And that's no shade. You know, people get takes wrong all the time. And I can respect people for putting their opinions out there. It takes a lot. So this isn't just a shit on Grant Hughes show. And I will say, Aiden and I have had some pretty fucking wild takes on here. So, and this is not just us shitting on Grant. But I will say, as a State fan, I know if Grant opens his mouth on NC State, the opposite's gonna happen. We gonna be okay. We gonna be okay. We gonna be okay. He's got some other good takes that age really well. But that's not. We're a State and Carolina podcast. We're not, and I don't even think he's a Duke fan. We're not a Duke podcast. So we're not a Duke podcast. We're a State and Carolina podcast.
We're not from New Jersey.
Yeah, we're not from or more affluent parts of Massachusetts. That's another one.
Yes.
Yeah, or the North Shore, my area of Massachusetts. We're not. I mean, I live there, but I'm not from there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, other games I want to talk about in the ACC before we get into some predictions, because there was some really, really, really good ones over the weekend. There were a lot happened. All right, let's go back and look at Saturday. Obviously, we have NC State, Wake Forest. We had Carolina, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that was nothing really much for me to write home on that one. Like,
Cal getting the upset at Miami. This was a big one for me. This ACC is deep. I'm sorry. I'm going to go full SEC logic on this shit. You can do it football season and then underperform in the playoffs. You know who doesn't underperform in the playoffs when it comes to their sport? The ACC. Even on our down years where we only get 4 in, those 4 end up in the Elite 8. So this Cal team, I really like them. I really like their coach. He's a really, really young guy. He has a lot of energy. I like him. Who is it? Who are they coached by? I'm blanking on his name. God, what is his name? I loved watching his old team. Where is it? Mark Madsen. Mark Madsen, super young guy. He's a former, I believe, Cal player, if I'm not mistaken. I think he is a former Cal player. Let me check. Let me fact check that. Sorry, he's played at Stanford. He played at Stanford and his ass ended up at Cal. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Super young guy. He has a team that plays with a lot of energy, plays like this NBA space and pace style offense. And what he's done at Cal is phenomenal. And they had a really exciting team last year, and they lost a lot of teams to the portal. And then what he was able to rebuild this team in the portal and have them kind of at a respectable place in the ACC. If I when Cal and Stanford moved to the ACC, I figured in football they or in certain sports they wouldn't be a great addition. Like Stanford, probably not would not have been was in my opinion was not a great addition to the ACC football wise. And when it came to or Stanford, when it came to Cal, I thought they'll probably contribute in football, but not basketball. No, this Cal team, they're 17-6. They're one game behind NC State.
Hmm.
They've had a good year. I think they're 5-4 in ACC play. They might be 5-5. They won their SEC ACC big challenge game. They have several good Power Four wins. I mean, they lost to Kansas State. That's an ugly one. Kansas State's terrible. For
Hmm.
those of you who are not into the depths of college basketball,
Hmm.
um, I know they lost to Duke on the road, but it was a respectable showing. Um, they do have some questionable losses, but they have had some really really good games. They beat Utah. They beat number 18 UCLA. Um, who did they beat in the ACC SEC challenge? I'm struggling to find that one. I'll find that later. Like that's aside the point. Like you understand, that's aside the point. Um,
Indeed.
but this Cal team, they're kind of scaring me. I think I don't think NC State plays them this year, but this Cal team's looking scary for me. I mean, they they're pretty dangerous. They go on a lot of runs, a lot of these
Hmm.
10-0, sometimes even 15-point runs, and they're never truly out of a game. They shoot really well from three, and they're not like one of these teams that shoot a whole lot of threes either. They're like they shoot a decent amount, 23. That's about the average. The average Division One team. I watched a video on this today because I don't want to hate from outside the club. Because Aiden knows I used to hate teams that shot threes. I kind of all lumped them into one category. Aiden and I actually talked about this about NC State last night. Um, Gareth, 4 years ago, you would have hated a team that played like this. But like Cal, they were 45% from three. They shot they were 11 of 23. They don't jack a whole bunch of threes. They just take quality looks.
Hmm.
Um, the big one here, I
What
think the
was
big kind of oh,
that? Was
good
a horrible shot.
was that the Gonzaga game.
Nah, this is a Clemson Stanford game.
Oh, you have that up too. Sorry, we've got the Clemson Stanford game on in the background. We'll probably address it when it's over because it's a big opportunity for both teams. I think it's a quad one win opportunity. Clemson being in the top 30 and Stanford because they're in the top 75, and it's an away game for Clemson. It's a quad one win opportunity for both. So this is big for ACC implications. So I'll finish up with the Cal game so we can get to a Stanford team. Like I said, Cal, they're an exciting team and they just take quality looks. Like I said, they run this space and pace style, NBA style offense. I forget if it's a 4 out I forget if it's a 4-1 or a 3-2 out, but it's one of the two. They run this very interesting motion offense that I like watching a lot. And this Cal team's dangerous. Like I said, they're never out of a game, and they can have these huge comebacks, and it's not fueled by 3-pointers. It's twos, quality shots. On the flip side, I mean, I'm not. This is not a shit on Miami show because they played good as well. Miami, a team doesn't take as of late. I'll say as of late, they don't take a whole lot of threes. They don't take a whole lot of threes. This past game they took 12. The game before that they took 15. So another team that likes to kind of they like to force the ball inside a lot, and they do have a lot of size in there. So that could be something they could play to their advantage. But Miami is a scary team, but I'm this Cal team. I don't know if you have any thoughts, but this Cal team they didn't come out of nowhere. I thought they were gonna be good this year, and I thought they were gonna be a force to be reckoned with.
You see, I think they're doing good. Obviously, gave it to UNC. This Cal team is a team that can win in weird situations, and you kind of got to be. If you're a California team in the ACC, you are your best when you can weird and win in weird situations. That's kind of what I see from this Cal team, being able to edge one out. against a Miami team that's been cooking lately, being able to travel coast to coast on any given week and give whatever team you're going up against the business, I think is a legit contender in the ACC tournament. And this is going to be one of my dark horses probably later in the year for an ACC tournament run.
I agree, and I'm gonna go ahead and call this one because it's a 4-point game with 3 seconds left. This Clemson Stanford game, but again, they kept this. They're a good team. They haven't been doing so well in the ACC play. I think they're gonna about to fall to 3-7. They recently lost to Florida State over the weekend, and we all know Florida State's not a good team. They're not doing too hot. They do have a new coach this year.
Mm-hmm.
I because it was my early night at work and I had a break between coaching the high school and coaching my job team, like the competitive team.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of basketball videos. I watched a lot of videos on Florida State. I watched 2 videos on Florida State basketball because I'm like, they can't be this bad. What a fall from grace. But it's not necessarily a fall from grace. This is their coach's first year. Florida State with their new first year head coach, Luke Laux. I haven't finished the video on them. He does run a very interesting offense from what I can tell. It's not quirky, but it's exciting. So they had got a huge win over Stanford. Stanford, I think they're a good team. I don't know if they'll make the tournament, but they could be another one of these dark horses. And like you said, they can win in weird ways. That's what's kept this game against Clemson so close. Is it's just been a weird game.
Mm-hmm.
Weird sequences, weird plays, these late night games.
In the bracketology with Joe Lunardi, Stanford is projected to be 82 overall and considered they will be out of the tournament according to Joe Lunardi. But looking at the bracketology right now, this ACC conference is very stacked, and the additions to conference realignment have been proving that they are very proficient college basketball teams.
No, I will say that in basketball, I think alignment has gone our way. However, teams that I think have not really held up their end of the bargain since making the ACC. Boston College. Pitt. Pitt. Syracuse a little bit.
Man, Pitt's one of those weird situations. I mean, it used to be once every 4 years. I'm talking about in the 2010s. There'd be one of those teams that you would have to look out for. But with this world of transfers and stuff, I haven't been seeing a lot out of Pitt lately.
Yeah,
dare I say they're in a pit right now.
Yeah, they've had a rough few years. I mean, they've had NC State's number up until recently, but I think their head coach, he's in his 7th year. I just think he is. I don't know. I think it's time for Pitt to move on from their coach. Elsewhere, you know what? Before we finish our analysis, we'll go into some Providence. Shout out to Providence. They won their first game in a while tonight. They won in double overtime, 97-87 over Butler. Not great in end of game scenarios again for Providence. They fouled.
Friars win.
Friars win. They fouled with no time on the clock again, and thankfully, the Butler player missed one of 2 free throws, so they went to overtime instead of losing. But somehow, in the fractions of a second they had left, they were able to go the length of a floor and manage a layup. That was an absolute brick. So, Kim English slightly improving in end-of-game scenarios, but I think
too little too late in the eyes of Gareth right now.
Too little too late. There's a lot of discourse online. So, and I'm going to shout out another one of my content creator sports friends, Mason Powell. Yeah, you've seen a few of his videos. He's saying he's similar situation to me. NC State fan, ended up at a college in the Northeast. He went to Holy Cross for athletics. I went to Providence for athletics. He's saying Providence needs to hurry up and fire their coach before he pulls a Kevin Keatts. I think he's right. Now I will see. Hey, Kevin Keatts was a little bit more consistent than Kim English has been, but he does make some good points. The Big East. So, for NC State, they had to win 5 games in 5 days. 5 days. Big East, if you win 3 games, you're Big East champion. If you win 3 games. Georgetown did it my freshman year. And if Providence is able to win a few games here and there and improve their standings, you get a higher seed, they feasibly could. They could. They could improve their chances, make a run. I'm not saying it's likely, but have I not said on here before? Providence's problems are very simple fixes. Like a lot of it's just they're a top 10 offense in college basketball, but they are the worst Power 4 defense. And it's not even like scheme, it's just laziness. If the players just gave a crap, they'd be good. Now, tonight, they were able to get the win despite missing 4 out of 5 starters. I'd say that's pretty good. Things may be even looking up. Do I think they'll make the tournament? No. I think if they want to make the tournament without winning the Big East, they're going to have to win out and win a few games in the tournament. Like there is no loss you can have now. And you're going to need some help. And with how weak the Big East is this year, you're going to need to win a few games, and you're going to have to beat either St. John's the second time you play them, Villanova in the tournament, Creighton in the tournament, or UConn in the tournament, because you lost to UConn twice now in horrid fashion. You had UConn down 10 with 2 minutes and lost. You came back from down 20 against UConn and choked the game away after getting a what would be deemed big enough lead with like 20 seconds left. Like, you blew a 24-point lead against Georgetown. You're probably going to lose them on the road, being completely honest. You're 3-9 in conference play. You need to let Kim English go midseason. In order to let the new coach start building a new roster going into next season, I love Kim English. I want to defend him. I'm not saying we fire him because he's missing the tournament for a third year. It's the manner in which. If you know, Aiden, say we were like 21-13 and missed the tournament this year, okay. That's improvement. But when you have a top 25 recruiting class and a top 25 portal class, this is not the product you can put out there. At some point, it's coming down to preparedness with how much this team turns the ball over, with how little attention to detail there is on defense. This is coaching at some point. And I think, Kim English, love you. In a world, I'd love to have Kim English as a coach. He's a great guy. There's not a lot of that left in college basketball. He's good. He talks about his faith a lot. Mm-hmm. He's very open. He's a single father of 2 really young daughters. So he's out there. And I'm not saying I want this man to be out of a job because I think he has a place in college basketball. I think he is a great offense. How he runs his 1-4 or his 1-in 4-out motion offense, it is a work of beauty. It is one of the most fun offenses I've ever seen. But when you don't have the defense to back it up, I think for right now, he needs to mature under another coach. Providence jumped the gun on him. Providence, he needs to be an offensive analyst role or be like kind of an offensive coordinator, if you will, for a team for a few years.
Yeah.
Get some experience. Providence jumped the gun on him, but final thought on this before we get into some predictions. Providence needs to quit with the current attitude. Providence, you are a Power 5 team. You are a Power 5 team. And I'll put on my Providence hat when I say it. Better look. All right. You are a Power 5 team. The consensus among the fan base, the kind of vibe people get from the athletic department is, oh, we're a small school. We can't get these big names. I don't. You're a Power 5 team with good history. It's not like you're Boston College, where your history is in football and hockey. Your history at Providence is in basketball. You've had some damn good teams over the years. And they act like we have to swing and miss on all these low major coaches. And that's like, you're going to find good guys in low major. I mean, Ed Cooley, when he was at Providence, we found him at Fairfield. Mike Krzyzewski, he was found at Army. And he wasn't even a good coach at Army. But you can't do that nowadays. With all these analytics, people are going to find these diamonds in the rough. At some point, you're going to have to splash the cash. Final bone to pick. This is why you don't extend a coach after year one unless he really did something. Like NC State, if you extend Will Wade after year one, okay, I'll forgive that regardless of how the next year goes. But extending Kim English because he dealt with a lot in his first year, sure. He had that team moving different at Christmas. Aiden even made comments on that one year. He had that team moving different at Christmas. But then he had an injury. They barely missed the tournament due to some, bid stealers, if you will, some injuries, some losses. But I don't like to call them bid stealers. Those are earned. Those bids were not stolen. Those bids were earned.
Yeah. No. I remember it vividly, Gareth. I remember it vividly.
But one of the highest net teams to not make the tournament.
Weren't you wearing? Wasn't that the year you were wearing a state jersey around Providence, and you were low key getting death threats?
Yes, I was low key getting death threats. Now, I will say, after people learned NC State's story and it went viral, everyone loved me. Everyone was rooting. The town of Providence became NC State fans because of me. I had people going, hey, we're throwing a March Madness party where we're all going to where they'll be dancing, but, we'll have at Providence at these parties, if there's a game on, they'll have a projector and have it projected up on the biggest wall in the room while still having a party with music, just no commentary.
Yeah.
I had people asking to wear NC State gear, asking for spare NC State gear. There was one night. Okay, so this is my parents probably know this, but I have a lot of state gear. There was one night I loaned out 20 shirts, jerseys included. I got them all back, thankfully. I didn't think I was, but they were all swim team members, so I knew where to find them. But I loaned out 20 pieces of gear just because everyone wanted to be State fans. My friend Grace was like, "Can I have a jersey?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know about you."
I'm good friends with Grace. I let her wear one of my other jerseys that I wasn't wearing that night. But no, my funny thing was people "Oh, bro, dude, you're just a State." I had a few people tell me I was just a State bandwagon, and I told Aiden that, and he was like, "Have you not seen his Instagram story the past 4 years?"
Bro, man, he ain't the bandwagon. He's riding that wagon. He's been riding that wagon since birth.
He's driving the wagon. He's driving the wagon. Aiden knows. I would post on my story even when they won, the year where Kevin Keatts had the worst record in NC State history of 8-22. I posted all 8 of those wins.
I'm DMing him saying, "Yo, dude, wrap it up." Yo, shit.
Wrap it up.
Bro, wrap it up. No one's listening. It's Georgia Tech, dog.
Bro, why are you flexing a 5 overtime win against a terrible Virginia Tech team? No way your ass stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching that when you had morning practice at 5. I did. God damn. But I will say this. Providence, there's a lot of people at Providence because of how the Northeast is who either grew up UConn fans, and changed allegiances. Couldn't be me. Sorry. Couldn't be me. Allegiances didn't change. Or they grew up solely NBA fans and they're still learning about the sport. So they tend to have very knee-jerk reactions when it comes to stuff. And I'm prone to knee-jerk reactions. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to NC State takes, I don't think it's knee-jerk reactions, particularly when it comes to football. No. Not going to get into that, but year 13.
Sometimes you low-key have polio when it comes to reactions to NC State. You're like, hang on, let's see this play out for a little bit. All right, we're going to test your reaction time to this, Gareth. Damn it, Gareth, you're like 6 months late on that.
Yeah, but I just think there needs to be a culture shift at Providence. I'm not going to go into the culture within the athletic department, but I think there just needs to be a whole culture shift there of we can't keep acting like we're the little guy. Ed Cooley embraced that, but he went about in a way as we're the little guy and we're going to punch you in the fucking face.
Yeah.
We're going to knock your ass out. Ever since then in the hiring process, they were like, oh no, we can't get that guy. No, it's too much money. No, we can't get that guy. Your coach just walked out on his contract. You don't owe him shit. In fact, I think he owed us money. Quit whining about money. You outspend UNC on basketball on a yearly basis.
Ask the
Don't
girl out, man. Quit dogging on yourself. Start flexing some bands.
the coach I wanted to become Coach Providence. Aiden, how do you think he's doing?
You tell me.
Aiden's like, judging by your reaction, probably very well.
Probably very well. Probably very well.
In fact, that coach won tonight, 71-65. He is the head coach of the Santa Clara Broncos at 20-5.
Ah, there we go.
Now, before you act like this is me just being, fighting for a family friend, it is. But it would not behoove anyone that if you went and looked at his resume, where did he get his start? Where was he an assistant coach to start his career? Providence. There was people were calling me idiots at Providence when I said, hey, let's go get Herb Sindak. Now, when I talk to my family members who are still in contact with Herb, Gareth, he just had a grandchild out there. You think he's going to move? Fair point. Fair point. Point taken. Point taken. So it probably wasn't going to happen. But
Damn. I could spend time with my grandchild in Santa Clara, California. Or I could go to Providence.
Make the tournament a few times.
Or I could go to Providence, Afghanistan.
But no, all the coaches I was interested in for Providence, they're doing well. St. John's, of all people, got fucking Rick Pitino over us. Rick Pitino hinted at he wanted to come back to Providence.
That was wild.
But we didn't act fast enough. We could have brought Rick back. Probably the greatest Providence coach in history. We could have brought Rick back, but we didn't act fast enough. Now, in defense, we had a new AD who just had the longtime head coach lie to his face and step out on him. And I get he was trying to hold it down. So this is not a shit on Steve Knapp show. I like him as a person, but I'm thinking, you're the upcoming guy. You have a lot of energy. Like, if you meet Steve Knapp, he's got a lot of energy. He's got great energy. He's a very positive guy. And I get he was trying to right the ship, and he was trying not to make a rash decision. But if you really want to make your mark, Aiden, if that were me, I would have been like, Rick, blank check. Blank check. And I get there's some baggage that comes with Pitino. There's some image issues that come with Pitino.
Hey.
And Knapp is really trying to lean into the Catholic school vibe, though. And I get it. I love that.
But in this day and age, that type of baggage, that's Louis. In an age where you can pay players, that's Louis Vuitton.
That's Louis.
That's Louis.
That's like my whole that's my whole like outlook with Will Wade. It's legal now.
It's legal now.
NIL, now it's legal. Will Wade. That's an actual quote. Now it's legal.
I mean, but then again, using that logic, the SEC would be doing a lot better at football right now if what was illegal then is legal now, translated to being good. If you catch what I'm saying right now.
It's just everyone's doing it now.
Everyone's doing it now.
But no, Providence, you need a culture shift. I love the underdog mentality, but we need to stop doing it as like a victim mentality. It needs to be, you were lucky with Ed Cooley. You were lucky. You were coming off of a rough era where you weren't very good, and I get you had to swing low. Ed Cooley, you're coming off a really good era. You're coming off of making back-to-back tournaments, Sweet 16 run, several ranked teams, winning the Big East a few times. You won the Big East 2 or 3 times in Cooley's short tenure. You went from a nobody to winning the Big East 3 times. You got to have a culture shift. You got to have that Rhode Island attitude about it. And I get Knapp was a new guy at the time. Knapp was new. He didn't want to make the mistake. Knapp, if you want to make your mark on this school, now's the time. You were afraid at first. I'm not going to fault you for not Patino. Your captain of the ship set off a stick of dynamite in the fucking boiler room, and you were just trying to help the ship survive and keep the players there. And you did a good job. You got a guy who no one transferred out. No one transferred out. You got the right guy in terms of keeping players around, which I get in the NIL era. You were scared about losing players. So I'm not completely faulting you. If you lost players and you got English, okay. But if you maintain players, I like that. You did something right, but now you're going to have to eat this Kim English contract. I'm sorry. But with how much the school's charging for tuition, I think you can pay for it. I'm sorry. I said it. I think the school can pay for it. But that's the end of my Providence rant. Let's get into some predictions. Sorry. That was just long, unfiltered
I
conversation.
mean,
That'll be a
breaking while Gareth was going on his tangent. Portland took down Gonzaga at home.
you know who's tied for first in the WCC now. Santa Clara. Let's
Santa
go.
Clara. Let's go. Let's go. But hey, we got a lot of matchups going into this weekend. It's one of those weekends where, like, well, I'm a little bit biased saying this because this is UNC Duke right now. So, like, obviously it's a big weekend for me, but a big weekend for the ACC in general. We're getting some good matchups. In the top 25, it's going to be stacked. We got some SEC matchups, some Big 12 matchups that might be worth looking into. But I'm starting this one off hot and fresh with the UNC Duke day. Duke's heading over to the Dean Dome right now, making that, what is it, 10-minute, like 10-mile drive over. And listen, this is what college basketball is all about. This is one of the best rivalries in all of sports. I know I have my personal feelings about UNC versus NC State. In my opinion, a little bit more passionate on my end, but this is a game where the fans, the cities, the whole state, every single North Carolina TV has this game on, and almost every single damn TV across the nation has this game on. Duke's coming in. Uh, Favorites, they have matchup predictors saying they are 77.1% chance of winning. This
That's
UNC
a lot.
team, it's a little high, but this UNC team has gone through that adversity. They've gone through the lows of the season and they're hitting a high right now. We got Caleb Wilson coming in. This freshman phenom has just been one of the best freshman players in all of college basketball this year, averaging 20 points a game. But Duke has a elite threat on their side with Cameron Boozer, averaging 23.3 points a game, 9.9 rebounds. This is going to be a great matchup. The vibes are going to be good at the Dean Dome, and I'm really excited to see what is going to go down in this matchup. Once again, I've said it, and it's going to be said throughout the rest of the season. This game's going to boil down to how is UNC going to be able to defend the three? Are they going to let up a lot of shots? Are they going to be creating too much space for these shots? Or are they going to be a little bit more on lockdown? This is a Duke team you cannot let get those shots off. They're shooting 50% on the field goal. They're averaging 84 points a game. This is a really, really proficient team on offense. But I got to tell you, Gareth, there's something about this UNC team. I'm biased, I know, but this Duke team is due to falter a little bit. They're a elite unit, but I just don't see them being a perfect unit.
Yeah,
I
they're gonna
think
have
I
to
think
lose.
they're gonna have to lose eventually. This is gonna be the game where Duke gets their first conference loss. I got the Tar Heels winning this one in a close matchup, in a classic matchup. There's always a classic match. It's always going to be a classic matchup when these two teams are going up against each other. But I gotta say, this is going to be a classic one down to the final minute. I just think it's going to come down to almost damn near a shot clock possession. That's going to that's going to decide this game, and I got UNC winning it.
I think UNC has a great chance in this one. I think the odds are, excuse me, the odds are a little skewed in my opinion. This Duke team really hasn't had a close game in weeks, and I think the key here is usually one would say come out and hit him in the mouth. I don't think you can just do that. It's going to have to be a sustained in your face thing. This is not going to be one of those games where you can come out and punch them in the mouth once, knock them off their feet, go up 10, and kind of cruise control from there. UNC is going to have to get going from the start here. They're going to have to hit them and stay hot. Not even just stay hot, hit them and just keep the intensity up. When Duke goes on runs, they're going to have to keep their composure. This Duke team is one of the best defenses in the nation. They average less than a point per possession. They are one of how many teams that do that? They are one of only 33 teams that can do that in the nation. But then they say defense travels. But I don't know. This UNC offense is very good. I think Hubert's going to have them ready. Hubert usually gets his team up for these games regardless of how good or bad Carolina is that year in relation to Duke. And this is at home. So I'm going to take Carolina in this one. I think I've got them over Duke. I really don't like either team here. So, yeah. Some state fans will be like, no, but I like Duke more. No, I hate them both equally. I'm old school state. I fucking hate them both. I fucking hate them both. ABC? Nah, fuck that. I'm sorry. Like, you hear all this ABC shit. Fuck that. Sorry.
Gareth
I'll throw Wake in there too.
Gareth is saying, give me the bullet right now.
Yes, Gareth is saying, give me the fucking bullet. Same thing for UNC Wake. Give me the fucking bullet. Give me the fucking bullet. Usually in these matchups, I root for whoever's worst. Like when I hate them both equally. When my worst nightmare is when UNC or Duke are about even. Like for whatever reason, if Duke or UNC was like a little bit worse than was a lot worse than the other, like I'd not want them to win, but I'm like I'd prefer that scenario. But I hate both teams in the sense I can't stand either. I mean, it's a different type of hate because I at least interact with Carolina fans. The only Duke fan I know, I know two Duke fans. My friend Andrew back home. So respect for being a Duke fan from North Carolina. And one of the families of the swimmers I coach, who are funny enough, where are they from, Aiden?
New Jersey.
They are, in fact, they do live in my area, so double whammy. But they are from New Jersey. They're from New Jersey. So yeah, give me Carolina on this one. Elsewhere in the ACC, let's take a look. A little look-see here on the Real app because the ESPN app's gone to hell.
We got a matchup between NC State and Virginia Tech on this one. Gareth, I'm going to let you take the reins on this one in a little bit. But Aiden's monologue on this one, State is one of those teams that's been really scrappy on the road. They've been one of those teams that's just really pesky. Kind of just, you don't want to face them when you're at home. But NC State is right now. Matchup predictor has NC State winning 86.6%. Gareth, Baker Mayfield University, which is, y'all are really good when everyone's like, oh, you suck. You suck. Y'all are really good then. But when people are saying, yo, this team's kind of cooking right now, this team might be legit, when the lights are on, sometimes y'all Baker Mayfield it.
Yeah. This Virginia, they're going to have to, I do think Will Wade is going to have this team up for this game. Like the joke Aiden and I have been making is State's going to lose the next two and then figure it out versus here, I'll read you the exact text Aiden Moore sent me last night. I'll read you the exact.
Read it word for word. I'm going to be.
I sent it to Sarah as one.
For context, I'm going to be up visiting Gareth during the NC State UNC game. So this wasn't planned, but it's just going to so happen that we're going to watch the game together at Gareth's house. So Gareth, you can take.
And don't worry, Aiden and I are very civil when our teams play each other. They've actually put each other a lot more when we've been together than we thought. Like a lot of State Notre Dame games we've been together for. Yeah. But I hate your stupid ass team so fucking much. Watch them lose to Virginia Tech and Miami and finally get it together at home against UNC. If that happens, I'm taking your BB gun and shooting your ass and then shooting my eye out Christmas Story style. I'm going to be sitting on your damn couch. You're going to watching you lose your shit because NC State's hit a 10-3 of the second half. And I'm just going to contemplate why I flew up to fucking Massachusetts in the goddamn winter just to see my team get raped on night 3 of my vacation. That is the most NC State thing to ever happen.
We got to film our reaction, if it's just with our iPhone or something like that. We got to just have a camera on the both of us during the NC State game.
Live stream it on here. Because this is a live stream option.
Hayden, put the BB gun down. I am a man of my word.
We're gonna get striked for that. We already have one strike on YouTube. We can't afford a second.
Oh, don't get me started on once we start getting strikes again, Gareth. I have another.
For those of you who don't know, we got striked a few months ago. We got striked. But no, I think, dare I say it, I think this game may be a little bit harder than certain fans are willing to admit, because I like this Virginia Tech team. Now, they have lost 3 of these ACC losses are just an absolutely heartbreaking fashion. They lost 3 times in a row on 3 buzzer beaters. Like, that's some NC State shit right there. Like, that is some NC State shit right there. Let's find where these. Let me look up some Virginia Tech stats. I have a quick. I'll show Aiden my system when he gets up here how I pull some of these stats pretty fast. Virginia Tech currently sitting 61st in the Ken Palm. In the net, where are they? Control 6. Oh, there we are. Virginia's I went there. Virginia's sitting around 56. They're 16-7. In the ACC, what are they? I think they're 5-5 in ACC play. They're good, but not great. This has been a pesky team in the ACC. They're currently sitting 8th in the ACC, but that doesn't mean anything right now because so many teams are tied. They're 5-5 in the ACC. Now, however, in their last 10, they're 5-5 as well. They're 13-3 at home and 3-4 away. I don't know. I like NC State's chances in this. The one I'm a little worried about is Miami because NC State at times, particularly when we're not very deep at the forward and center spots. We have players who can play there, but we're not deep in terms of experience. And Miami has a lot of experience on the interior. So I'm going to take NC State over Virginia Tech here. I just like NC State a little bit more. The defense has stepped it up. The main issue with this NC State team earlier in the season, as Aiden heard me beat a dead horse over this, was these defensive rotations weren't on time. The defense was good, but with how Will Wade runs his offense, is he likes to leave. He looks at what shots are like, hey, what's like the least likely shot you're going to hit that's not a half-court shot? And he's like, we don't leave it open, but we kind of shift the defense away from that. So it's a little bit later of a closeout. But the problem is when that planned late closeouts even later, that's when bad stuff happens. But I like the adjustments Will Wade has made on defense. He brought out for part of the SMU game that helped turn it around. He brought out an almost extinct defense, the 1-3-1 zone. The last team to run that was Oakland in 2024. Thought you wouldn't hear that name on this podcast again. 2023, 2024, Oakland. And that SMU kind of saw ghosts on that. So I'm wondering if we'll see more of that against Virginia Tech if, Virginia Tech gets on a little bit of a run. But this Virginia Tech team is nothing to scoff at. I'm not saying this is going to be an easy one. This Virginia Tech, even when they're terrible, they fight hard. They fight hard. Virginia Tech, they're 2-5 in quad 1 wins. So they can get it done when they need to. But I just like this NC State offense more than I like the Virginia Tech offense. NC State averages 1.2 points of possession. That's pretty good. I think that's good enough for the top 25 in offenses, if I'm not mistaken. Offensive rating, NC State. NC State is the 18th best offense, 40th best defense. They average allowing a point per possession. This Virginia Tech team, their defense isn't as stout. So I just think The crowd is going to be big here. I mean, I really don't like that we had players saying they prefer playing, you know, away to home, but you never know. But I think the difference here is going to be our defense versus the Virginia Tech offense. Like, their offense just isn't quite as good as ours. But you never know. The bad thing about the good and the bad thing about college basketball, if one team shoots above average one night, their increases of winning go up exponentially. So I just think NC State, I like them here because we found ways to win in games where we historically have not won. We have won in games where we are shooting below 20% from the field. Keats did that once, but we've done it consistently. We've won in games where the threes weren't falling, consequently by taking more threes. But the old adage, if you you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. They have a little bit of that Carolina Hurricanes mentality. When we get to when we do an update on them, they run a style where they just keep shooting. So, I like NC State here versus Virginia Tech. So, we'll move on to the next one. What else? There's not many.
Wake Forest is playing Louisville. Give me Louisville.
Give me Louisville, yeah. Obligatory Tobacco Road mention.
Obligatory mentioning a North Carolina team you don't really have hope in, but hey, we got to hit our quota. During football, it's Charlotte. During basketball, is Wake Forest.
Oh, a good matchup. We've got Cal and Clemson. Clemson traveling to Cal.
No, I just saw it. I think no. Oh yeah. They had it wrong in the damn ACC network. They said Cal was traveling to Clemson. Got that wrong. It's right in front of me. It's saying Clemson staying in California after getting a close win over Stanford 30 minutes ago. They're gonna stay in California and take on this Berkeley squad. And you and I have already said in this pod, this Cal team is no joke.
They aren't.
Listen. A California trip for any East Coast ACC team is a hard thing. We have come to know this. It takes an elite squad like a Duke to go out there, remain undefeated in those two games. So, give me Cal in this one.
I'm taking Cal. This Cal team is incredibly underrated. I think they're underranked in the net, which I think is going to benefit them if they do make the tournament, because then they're going to be underseeded. This Cal team is dangerous. They're 3-4 in quad one games. They've got 3 quad one wins already, and they're doing pretty hot. They're 1-2 in quad two, which could be where kind of the hesitancy on ranking them high 1-2 in quad two. You can have that, but in the ACC where the majority of your games are going to be quad one, 3-4 is not bad. I like this Cal team a lot. Clemson, they're a really good team, but they're kind of on a slide. Clemson, they're going to make the tournament. They're going to be a highly seeded team, but they're one of those teams where I think they just got hot too early. I know they're still 19-4 in the ACC, but when it comes to their play, they've been kind of slipping as of late. They don't look as sharp. They're getting the results, and you could spin this either way. Oh, they're still getting wins despite not being as sharp. But also, you struggled at home with freaking Georgia Tech. I mean, State did that. They had a good win over Miami, but you struggled with Notre Dame a bit. Like, SMU's a good squad, but you can't struggle with SMU at home. Like, they're a good team, but it's more of an eye test thing where they're slipping. They're still getting the results, but I just feel it coming. You're on the West Coast, something screwy is going to happen. This is like playing Georgia Tech at noon at home or Georgia Tech on the road at 9 on Tuesdays. Something screwy is going to happen. It's 8 p.m. on Saturday. That Cal crowd's going to be there. They're going to show out. Cal shows out when their teams are good. So I think they're in for not a trap game, but it's a perfect storm for them. in my mind. I think that does it for ACC games. Let's look around just in some general ones. I'll do an obligatory Providence mention this weekend. Or do they get the weekend off? Oh, Aiden, you're going to like this one.
Yes.
DePaul.
Ooh.
DePaul. Give me Providence. I like the way they've been playing as of late. DePaul's, on the real app, people are favoring DePaul, but I think that's just because clicks. But hey, Providence team is 3-9. DePaul's 4-8. DePaul looking better year by year. DePaul has a winning record this year. Not something I thought I'd say. But that home stadium, it's Saturday. Even when Providence sucks, their fans show up. Last year when we beat Georgetown when we were 12-20, Aiden, sold out. It went viral and everyone's like, this is what college basketball is about. Providence has been out of the tournament for weeks and their fans still sell out. These fans are going to show up. I got Providence winning. It's at home. I like them here. They won today. I'll throw them a bone. They're beating DePaul.
I like how they've been playing lately, as of a couple hours ago.
Yes, as of a couple hours ago.
All right.
This week,
let's pull up the top 25, see what we got. I think, if I'm not
we got
mistaken,
a classic one on Friday. Sorry, go ahead.
We got a classic one on Friday. Hang on one sec. Ooh, I'm liking this matchup. A St. John's squad that's really kind of started to right the ship. Had some early season woes, but they're really starting to get back in the top 25. I'm liking the squad a lot versus a UConn team that, listen, I think they've been looking pretty good, but like to say that there is no issues and to say that this is a perfect squad, I have to disagree with that. It's an MSG game. That's always fun to see with a St. John's, especially in this matchup right here. Gareth, what are your thoughts on this?
I know not in their most recent games, 2 games, but this UConn team has had some really questionable results. You did come back on the road against Providence, but that's a team you really shouldn't struggle with. You struggled at home with Providence. You let them come back from 20, except the other way around. You struggled with Georgetown. You struggled with Marquette. You struggled with DePaul. I mean, I like them. They've certainly have the results to back it up. Their only loss is Arizona, but this is another one where it's just like the eye test. They have not looked outside of the Xavier and Creighton game. They have not looked very solid as of late. I think this is a perfect storm. The one team that has had UConn's number the past couple years, Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino, I think, is 3-1 against Dan Hurley in his tenure at St. John's. So I'm going to take St. John's in this one. I think UConn's going to get their first conference loss. I'm going to take St. John's, who then will take the lead in the Big East. So give me St. John's on Friday. I just like what they're doing as of late. I think, like you said, they've ridden the ship. They've got momentum. They've got MSG. That thing's going to be sold out. So give me St. John's.
Yeah, I'm liking St. John's in this matchup. Going on to Saturday, we have, let's see, where are some good matchups? Arizona's still undefeated. They're going up against Oklahoma State. Give me Arizona in that. Miami of Ohio is going down to Marshall for the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. Man, is there a challenge I'm not familiar with? Hang on, wait a second. Yo, low key. Give me Miami of Ohio in this one. They're still looking pretty good. I like them a lot. But ooh, here's another great matchup that I think you're going to like a lot, Gareth. Illinois versus Michigan State.
Michigan State coming off of a ugly loss today at Minnesota where they blew a 10-point lead. I don't know, man. I'm just this one. Michigan
This
State.
Illinois team's scary.
It is. people are labeling them the best college basketball offense ever. I hesitate on that, but they are scary. Give me Illinois. I just like the way they've been playing lately. Illinois, I think we're in the point of the season where Illinois gets hot for like 10 games and they blow up in the tournament. But we're in the part of the schedule where Illinois owns it. So I'm going Illinois here on precedent.
Yeah. Let's see. We also have. We already talked Clemson, Cal. I mean, Tennessee versus Kentucky. What are your thoughts on this? We've been talking about this a lot off air about this Kentucky squad. Gareth, care to give your opinions on this inconsistent Kentucky squad?
So Kentucky, they're similar to St. John's. They're kind of riding the ship right now, and really rough start to the year for Kentucky. Where do they sit in the net, if I'm not mistaken? Let me take a look. I think they're in the 30s. Oh, they're 28. Wow. This Kentucky team 4-6 in quad one wins in the SEC. They're currently sitting second at 6-3. It's a home game at Rupp Arena, but they haven't really been that strong at home this year. If my memory serves me correctly, they have not been very strong at home this year. Let me take a look at their record. At home, okay, 13-4 is not bad, but they've struggled in the games at home where you'd want them to, be a little bit more like losing to Missouri by 5 at home. That's not one you want to see. But I think Rupp's going to be rocking. I know Tennessee's coming off of a good game, but they're coming off of a really good day shooting. And sometimes at home, when you blow out a bad team where everything's just falling for you, and then you go onto a road in a hostile environment. And I know Tennessee's got a really good defense, and defense travels, but I think particularly in an environment like Rupp, if Tennessee doesn't come out shooting lights out, I think they could be in for a long day. So give me Kentucky.
Give me Kentucky as well. I mean, I think they're starting to right the ship a little bit. Also, this Tennessee team, I'm not gonna lie, a touch bit overrated in my opinion. Early season loss to Kansas, Syracuse,
Yeah.
Illinois, losing to Florida, already lost to Kentucky, and that was in your own backyard, man. And now you're going down up to Kentucky in a stadium that, regardless of how you're doing, and granted, we've all, like, to my knowledge, I've only known Kentucky when they've been relevant. But regardless, those fans show out. This is going to be a heated matchup, and I just don't see Tennessee coming out this one with a win.
I don't see a way either. This is gonna be a tough one for them. Let me see.
Got a
What
got a matchup between Houston and BYU, a 10:30 Eastern Standard Time tip-off. Going to be a late night matchup between a Houston squad that we've said before is like a well-oiled machine versus this BYU team. Been a little bit more scrappy, but I like this team a lot. I like this team's resilience. They've had some close losses, and I don't know if they're going to tip the scale against a team like Houston, but this is definitely a must-watch matchup late into the night.
It is. This Houston team performs exceedingly well on the road, though. This is a Houston team where they still play a little slow. They still play a little slow. I will say that's kind of been the Houston style lately, but they're methodical. Their two losses been away losses that have been dogfights. They've lost 2 close games. Houston, overall, they are the 8th best defense. Michigan's the best. They average less than 1 point per possession. But this is a Houston team that's similar to NC State. On the road, they just shut teams down.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly this BYU team that flies and dies by their offense, and it increasingly so each year.
Mm-hmm.
This BYU team, let me fact check it before I say something, just make sure I'm not biased off of last year. This BYU team, the 11th best offense, Um, they're not the fastest in tempo. Excuse me. Yeah, they're not the fastest in tempo like they usually are, but they still play pretty fast. They're in the top 50. Um, but in this Houston team, they do play really slow. Their offense is a lot better than it has been. But I'm just saying, this is a BYU team that likes to get out and run when they can. But I'm sorry. I think this Houston team's just going to shut them down, particularly if it's an off night shooting when the threes aren't falling for this BYU team. They're taking record amounts of threes and playing really fast. I'm sorry. This is just a Houston team that just shuts people the fuck down. And they added the fact they have a more proficient offense this year. It's still slow, but it's so much more efficient than last year. Oh my God. This team has national championship written all over them. So I'm gonna take Houston this one. I think it'll be a close one. I think debilitating, just kind of like not debilitating to their season, but I think it's going to be just a demoralizing loss. It's going to be one of those losses where it feels like you do everything right and they just still shut you down. So give me Houston.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one. I like this Houston squad a lot. Uh, I just think being able to play the game at your own pace is a very powerful thing. We've said this before in different March Madness runs. If you're able to slow the game down or just play the game on your terms, that's what I see a lot from this Houston team. A team that is able to just play their style of ball regardless of the circumstances, and that's a very powerful thing to do in basketball. So I'm gonna have to go with Houston on this one. I like this BYU team a lot. They got some oomph to them that I think a lot of people might look over a little bit, but I'm gonna have to go with well, both are Cougars, the Houston Cougars on this
The
one.
Houston Cougars.
Which I
Trying
mean,
to,
side tangent on this one. Who's a fan of Houston? And I'm not even saying this as like a diss. It's just like this is a good team, but like I don't see anyone repping Houston lately.
I don't know.
Like I know they're like a commuter school, and in a big city, Houston's a really really big city. I would figure like maybe there's something I'm missing right now, but I'm seeing a suspicious lack of Houston Cougars fans out there. Maybe something
Yeah.
to look into.
I'm looking around at some more scores if there's anything else we want to look into. I'm looking at some of the mid-major conferences. Well, let's before we log off, just obligatory. What's going on in the Big South? What's going on in the Big South? There's a lot of North Carolina teams there. What's going on in the
Yeah,
Big South?
yeah. Hang on. Let me pull this up. Pull that one up. Let's see. Standings.
Winthrop.
Winthrop.
Are there any big games in that one coming up this weekend?
Mm,
D.
do, do,
Sorry,
do.
High Point's not in that one. What's High Point in? That's the one I
Uh,
want to check up in.
I think. Uh, hang on one
Well,
second.
High Point is in the Big South. Why didn't they show up in the rankings? Oh, High Point second in the Big South. That's why it is. High Point and Winthrop tied for first in the Big South. No big games this weekend. But when is that High Point Winthrop game? High Point Winthrop. Ooh, you're here for it.
Mm, hang
Possibly a
on.
game we buy ESPN Plus for.
Hell no.
Hell
Hell
no.
no. Hell no. We ain't buying ESPN Plus. But let's see. There is a conference I do want to look into. It's one of my uh favorite conferences to look into uh come March. It's hang on, let me pull the CAA. We got UNC Wilmington doing 8-1 in the conference right now. Once again, looking like they're prime for maybe another March Madness appearance. I like this conference a lot, especially with teams like Charleston uh, coming in 8-2 in this conference. Usually, like the first four teams in this, like the top four teams in this conference are teams you really need to look into. But right now, it seems to just all be UNC, Wilmington, and Charleston. Uh, More on that later when things start to
Yeah.
develop a little bit more.
Quick before we move on, a quick little tidbit about. I know we mentioned this a few minutes ago. The Portland's Gonzaga game.
Hmm.
I want to tell you how big of an upset this is. A week ago, this is just in from Brenna Green on Twitter. A week ago, there were so many players out for the University of Portland that their head coach had to play scout team.
Mm.
And he tore his Achilles in practice playing scout team. This week, it worked out for him. Portland won. Portland won. So that's all I wanted to say. Shall we jump into UFC?
Yeah, 1 second. I do want to give a quick and honorable shout out to the Charlotte Hornets right now in the NBA. They've been on a little bit of a tear as of late, some might say. Going on a 7 win streak, won like 10 of their last 11. Like they've finally started to kind of like put this team together, and they have chemistry. They're one of the most dangerous teams that's outside of the playoff picture right now, and it's a playoff team looking like. If they can continue this momentum, they got a matchup tonight against the Houston Rockets that they're going to be playing later, depending on when this podcast comes out. I'm liking this Hornets team a lot. Uh, it just feels like everything's starting to click right now for them, and it's good to see for a NBA team in North Carolina looking like they actually could represent the state of North Carolina.
I know, and they just brought in some new talent tonight. A lot of trades went down in the NBA today. I wonder if it's the deadline, but they
Yes.
brought in Tyus Jones, another North Carolina basketball legend from Duke. So they're kind of assembling kind of the, you know how you and I talked about having like a North Carolina like Knights of the Round Table to fix the Hornets? They're kind of
Yes.
assembling that. They're kind of
Yes, they
assembling
are.
that.
Yes, they are, Gareth. And you love to see it. You'll love to see it. But going on over to UFC 325, I'm not going to lie. This was a good card. I don't think it compares to 324, but it
Oh
was a
God,
good
no.
card. Like, nah, that, like, this was a, this was for all the fans that are just coming in from Paramount Plus. This is a good sequel to an amazing movie where you just kind of watch it and go like, that was good. Now, there were some memorable moments that I think a lot of people might really want to like look into, but good card. Not as good as the last card, but I'm saying it was a good card. We're coming into this one. Taya Tuivasa lost in a unanimous decision to Talison Texera. Uh, this was a real. I'm not gonna lie. This one it was an okay fight. Like I think both fighters put it out online, but this one just kind of went to show like how sometimes in heavyweight it does really kind of slow down a little bit, and there was a lot of hugging in this one. But after that, Mark Rufi got a TKO over Rafael Fiziev. Um, in round two. That was a really good knockout by Ruffy. Um, Lightweight division. I've said this once, and I'm going to say this going into the next fight. Absolutely one of the best divisions in UFC right now. Another lightweight matchup between Benoit Saint Denis and Dan Hooker. Benoit Saint Denis gets the KO in round two as well against Dan Hooker. I'm really liking Benoit Saint Denis. I think he's going to continue going on the streak. Definitely, there's a lot of talent in this division, but I won't be surprised in the next 5 years we might see a BSD championship, yeah, being a championship fight. Like I think he's one of those fighters that I think is a lot. There's going to be a lot of electricity surrounding him. Representing France, I think this is going to be uh, somebody to really look out for. If you're a casual, you got to know the name. Got to know the name now. Uh, Going into the featherweight main event, we had Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. I was giving Gareth updates on this fight. This was it was interesting in my opinion. Volkanovski won this uh, handedly, in my opinion, but it lacked a little bit of the oomph that I thought it was gonna have. Um, One judge scored it all 5 rounds for Volkanovski. I think that was a little bit too far. This one was a little bit closer than maybe the scorecard indicates. Diego Lopez had some good shots in there, but Volkanovski was just able to really kind of give it to him in the strikes and just actually put some damage to the head and face area for Diego Lopez. Volkanovski showing no signs of stopping in featherweight. Once again, just kind of showing that he's the featherweight GOAT right now. I'm really excited to see where he goes from here. Right now, I believe he is tied for total featherweight championship title defenses. So is looking pretty unstoppable right now. Father Time has yet to take Volkanovski, and at this point, that's going to be the only thing that stops him going forward. It's just going to be when are the wheels going to fall out? And I hate to say it after like such a good win, but I feel like it's also a positive thing to say because nobody's beating, well, Volkanovski only is really going to lose to absolutely generational lightning in a bottle people like Islam Makhachev when he decides to go up in a weight class, and Ilya Tapora, who once again just phenomenal fighter, one of one. Like there's nobody like Ilya Tapora. Alexander Volkanovski just kind of continuing his dominance in this division, and I can't say enough praises to him as a fighter and just him representing the UFC as a whole. Definitely somebody that while we still have him, we got to appreciate the greatness that he brings.
Yeah. Aiden had to give me text updates because I was driving during this. I was driving back from a high school swim meet. I watched some of the highlights, looked at the stats, watched a few of the rounds fully. Just some notes. Like the highlights, I think maybe were a little bit more skewed towards Volkanovski, in my
Definitely.
opinion. Like the
Hmm.
highlights work, obviously, because he's the winner. And looking
Hmm.
at the stats, like he did have a lot more significant strikes, particularly to the head. He had 72 strikes to his head, which that's a lot. Um, but that's not to say that Lopez didn't have some good shots. In the third round, if you look at it, it almost looks like he got him. There's one
Yeah,
punch
that
to the face that Lopez got that
that was the
in the
round
moment.
I gave to Lopez. Like I was like, it does look like he falls down, but that's going to count as like a knockdown.
He did have a good takedown on Volkanovski in round 5, if I'm not mistaken. Center of the
Yeah,
cage.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
not. I'm trying to remember that center of the cage. But overall, I think they achieved the right decision. Unanimous decision? I don't know. Split
Yeah,
decision?
I think I
Definitely.
think I think unanimous decision. It's definitely a unanimous decision in my mind. I think maybe just the one judge going all 5 rounds Volkanovski. I'm like, okay, we can stop the glaze a little bit.
Yeah.
We can stop the glaze a little bit.
Oh, I forgot. Unanimous means they all decide he's the winner,
Yeah,
not all
yeah,
5 rounds.
yeah.
Yeah, not all 5 rounds. I agree. There's like
Yeah,
I might
so
have given the round 5 to Lopez.
yeah, I mean, like when it comes to unanimous decisions, like that's the weird thing. Like one judge can have you just winning 3 rounds, and the other judge can have you winning 5 rounds, and the other one winning 4 rounds, and that's still considered a unanimous decision. It's only
Yeah.
split. It's only split if one guy just goes, you know what, give this one to Lopez.
Yeah.
But
I know.
really good card. Got some fight nights coming up in these next couple weeks. They're a little bit more low key. For those who are not familiar with what UFC Fight Night is, when we had pay-per-view, these were the free fights that you could watch on ESPN Plus. These are also free, they're just not numbered. But we have some interesting ones coming up these next couple weeks. On February 21st, we're going to have Sean Strickland fighting. And then February 28th, we're going to have Moreno versus Kavanaugh. That's going to be good. Next numbered event is going to be March 7th, Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. Oh boy, that's going to be a good one when it comes. But right now, we're on a 2 numbered card high right now. So I think it's good just to get the fans familiar with Fight Night. We'll be lightly covering those, but I'm really looking forward to UFC 326. That should be a great matchup. We got some big names in this one, and I'm really excited for it. And yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch these fight nights so I can get a little bit more familiar with not the up and comers, but just like, people
yeah,
outside of the top 5, just so I can have a little bit more, say one of
yeah,
them works their way up. But I need to look into Max Holloway. I know who Charles Oliveira is. He's the dude. He's got the bleach blonde hair sometimes, right? Like
yes,
almost completely white.
yes. Max
I know.
Holloway is basically the Hawaiian dream. He's known for just like being just this is actually so this matchup, I'll get into it later. I've talked about it before, but it's a BMF title.
Bad
So
move.
it's yeah, yeah. So it's basically like, hey, it's a title for somebody that is in the because right now the lightweight is just so stacked right now. They're literally kind of making a fake championship just to like satiate like how loaded this division is. And Max Holloway has one of the best knockouts against I believe it was Justin Gaethje, who's bigger than him. He normally does Max Holloway normally doesn't fight in lightweight, but he's moved up to lightweight and just gets an absolute classic buzzer beater knockout in the final seconds of the fight. In a fight he was already winning. He just basically tells Gaethje, "Hey, we're going to stand in the middle of this ring. We're just going to duke it out in the past in the next 5 seconds." And as it like strikes one, he knocks Gaethje out cold. It's probably one of the best knockouts in UFC, next to the Leon Edwards over Kamaru Usman, in my opinion. But yeah, that's gonna sum up my UFC breakdown. Gareth, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm trying to branch out a little bit more because Aiden's assessment that Gareth when someone other than a TikToker's fighting. Because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look into this Volkanovski guy. Turns out he's a fucking cooking influencer. God damn it. Now I will say,
uh,
is Sugar Sean's an influencer too? As a YouTube channel, unfortunately.
I mean, I say influencers. I mean, like at this point now, like a lot of fighters have social media presences. So like it's honestly like probably the best way to like get to know a fighter and to really uh fall in love with like different fighters and their personality. Like it's one of the things that I like about how the sport has kind of progressed now.
Makes sense.
When
But no,
does
I
the
think that's all
Olympics
for me.
start?
Oh, the Olympics starts, I think, in a few weeks.
Yeah, we might do a Winter Olympics special. I'm not gonna lie, there's only really one matchup I really care about.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Oh wait, they start today. or tomorrow.
Hey. We'll do some research on the Olympics. We are not prepared to assess what's going on in the Olympics yet.
Outside of hockey, I'm gonna need to do some major.
Yeah, yeah. No disrespect to the athletes. I'm just not
No
familiar with your
disrespect to the
game.
athlete. I was in a summer Olympic sport. Sorry, I mean not. I didn't go to the Olympics, but you don't know what I mean by Olympic sport. Like not
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
like the original like 8 Olympic sports. I was in the summer Olympic sport. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a time when they were all in the same Olympics?
I don't know. I don't know.
Didn't winter and summer Olympics used to be the same? From 1924. Oh, they weren't the same thing. It was from 1924 to 1992. The Summer and Winter Olympic Games were held in the same year.
Mm,
I see that. I kind of wish we did that still,
yeah.
but I like with TV money, they're trying to spread it out. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone needs to get their bag.
You know,
I mean, and like,
right?
I mean, Olympians need to get sponsorships because they don't get
Yeah.
paid.
So they can spread the sponsorships out, and so a company like it's an up and coming company, and oh, we want Michael Phelps. Well, oh, we also want to get this snowboarder who's like an influencer.
Yeah.
Now you don't got to pick.
Yeah.
But I think that'll do it for us here tonight. You have anything else to add?
No.
But no, we really appreciate you guys listening in. And we will see you next week with a breakdown of the Super Bowl, probably lots of college basketball. Maybe some UFC fight night. Now that I know what I'm talking about, we can talk about this more often. So
Oh,
if
yes.
I have a chance to watch the fight night, you know what? We'll talk about the fight night. I'll say we'll talk about it. So now I have to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, we really appreciate you guys listening in, and we will see you next week.